Good evening, comrade citizens, and happy National Day of Socialism and the Day of the Ways and Means of Revolution. Today marks the 96th anniversary of the October Socialist Revolution, when the Bolshevik Party, under the great socialist visionary Vladimir Lenin, overthrew the provisional government which arose from the ashes of the czars in Russia. Today in Sandus, however, we commemorate this first socialist revolution as a day for our own socialism. The National Day of Socialism has always been a day in which the Citizens' Communist Party of Sandus has gathered around in congresses and in meetings in order to deliberate on the democratic will of our people. In these past few years, we have given much consideration to the dual definitions of the state of Sandus. One of these definitions is the definition of republicanism. However, at this time, we are beginning to see that it is not always the case that Sandus is a very democratic country, especially because with many of our most prominent citizens leaving, the party has been delegated to have an international conference by which it has become just a tool for the office of the Sôgmô to deliberate. However, the office of the Sôgmô, myself as Sôgmô, and the entire Central People's Government of Sandus, and I'm sure all of the democratic thinking and democratically minded individuals in the state of Sandus remain firm in their ardent belief in this dual definition of Sandus. We hope for the day in which we can once more attract those who are interested in our philosophy, who are interested in our nation, in our culture, and especially interested in our state. The National Day of Socialism is essentially the day and holiday of the party, by which we celebrate this democratic element in the state of Sandus. When I was considering speaking tonight, I was considering many different topics, and one stood out. In my recent studies, I've come across an ancient author, Polybius, who has essentially, he was an ancient Greek author who wrote on the constitution of the ancient Romans, and he noted that Rome was a republic. And he says that Rome was a mixed constitution, which was perhaps the best constitution, Polybius argues, because it had elements of monarchy, which we certainly have. It has elements of aristocracy, which we could have potentially in a sort of meritocratic party form that we have now, and it also has elements of democracy. So the study of Polybius is essentially intertwined not only with our own Sandum culture and its very importance on the ancient writers. The Sandum culture derives much of its social and cultural values from the ancients, from our revolutionary predecessors. But at the same time, it also provides us an interesting way to consider our own government. That we are, in fact, a republic because we have this democratic element which meets every November, and it used to be every April as well, but now it meets every November in order to discuss the democratic running of the state. We also have democracy because the office of the Sôgmô, which is essentially a monarchical office, is elected. And we have oligarchy by the party in the off years when it's run by good socialists, good communists, etc. However, the reason why I am bringing this up tonight is the fact that as a country, as a state, the state of Sandus needs to continuously advance the socialist values which have always been embedded in our culture. Polybius also argues that Rome was socially an aristocracy, but its political system was mixed, thereby saying that even though a mixed constitution might be the best, the strongly willed, essentially republics can be socially and culturally be aristocracies. And this is, in Sandus, something that we don't want. We do not want an aristocracy based on wealth or on power. Rather, we want an aristocracy based on our citizens' hard work and values to the perpetuation and the defense of our socialism. So in a sense, this is our democracy. This is our elite. Our elite is meritocratic. It's based on merit. That those who are good citizens, they help in the running of the state, and they help to further advance the Sandum Socialism. These individuals are our aristocracy, as Polybius would argue. Again, the reason why I'm bringing this up in this speech to commemorate the National Day of Socialism is explicitly to say that the party is the Democratic Party in the state of Sandus. It represents the individual citizen. It represents the democratic will of our people. And it represents the cultural values which are at the very underpinnings of the state of Sandus, which are, of course, our philosophy: Buddhism, socialism, and Sangha, the three terms which define our philosophy. Socialism is arguably one of the most important values of the philosophy, especially because it argues that each citizen can be an individual, but at the same time, the individualism of each citizen can still better the state of Sandus. As Sôgmô, I am exceptionally proud to lead this micronation, to lead this state of Sandus. It has always been my honor and it's always brought me great enjoyment. And this National Day of Socialism is, to me, a holiday to commemorate the fact that as a nation, we are continuously advancing, and that our advances aren't made by private individuals, they're made by our entire people. They're made by our entire state, the entire Sandum people. And this is very profound by the fact that all of us have come together, the few of us have come together, of our own will, to reject not only social norms, but also political structures and also political regimes which are inbred in us by society. The advances of the state of Sandus are advances of analytical reasoning and thought. All citizens are expected to be analytical and critical of all various forms of thought, of all arguments, of all points, and it is by this that our Sandum democracy, that our Citizens' Communist Party of Sandus has always led us, led me as Sôgmô, led the people, and led the state to further advance socialism in a revolutionary way, and that revolutionary way is by the state of Sandus. I wish to thank you for listening to this speech, especially because it is a very important time for us as a nation. We are opening up the state of Sandus to the world, as is the motto of the Second Filia Advance, and it is my hope as Sôgmô, as the legitimate ruler of the state of Sandus, and by effect the elected ruler of the Sandum people, that I am continuously at the people's behest, and I follow their petitions and their democratic will. I wish to congratulate you on the National Day of Socialism and the Day of the Ways and Means of Revolution, comrade citizens. Let us continuously advance our state of Sandus and Sandum Socialism.